Hey everyone, welcome to the Magical Stories of Healing and Spiritual Gifts podcast. I am David here with my amazing wife, Miss Megan.
Hi, everyone.
And we are so pumped today to talk to you. We're bringing you a very, very special human that's just had such a transformative experience and not only had the experience and has been through darkness, but has now used that experience to bring so much light to lives and just a beacon and healing to people and hope. And there's just been this immediate supernatural connection Megan's told me about since we've started our movement.
Amazing group on Facebook.
And your group. It's crazy how there's alignment because we started our group after our Megan's incredible ayahuasca healing, and it's just divinely blew up with this movement. Very similar to Charles. But Charles Patty, you're the owner of Revive Wellness and Education Center, if that's correct. And your group is called Only Positive Vibes and Posts, right?
Yes, it is.
Well, thanks so much for making time for us today.
I'm always stealing things that he shares in his group into our group.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. And it's beautiful to meet the both of you as well. And synchronicity has brought us together. So.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, we're it's funny because just like she was saying, we're running our group. Our group's growing, but you post so much good stuff. We're like, oh man, that's really good because you get it.
But even like the stuff that we're talking about with the chaos in the world, like all these people are focusing on a virus, and we're like, oh, there's a lot. Yeah, I mean, there's other stuff going on behind the scenes right now. You know what I mean? And so like the post that you share in the group, I'm like, oh, David's gonna love this one, because a lot of people, when you wake up and you get all this profound healing, you start to think that like everyone else is waking up too. I know I've experienced that, and then I'm like reminded that like, oh whoa, like most people there's so many people are not.
95% of the world, I mean, I don't know if it's that much, but there's so much of the world because in this world, once you go through that healing and you realize the spiritual aspect of this world, you also realize you kind of attract the similar tribe, and there's so many people that don't understand how spiritual this is.
Yeah, well, we are magnets and we do attract where we're at, and like that's why, it's beautiful to connect with you again. Like I said, I love being around like-minded people. I love talking to like-minded people. And I'm also, always trying to bring awareness to everybody because, we're trying to wake everybody up. That's truly the mission,
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely,
man.
Absolutely. Well, we are stoked to get into your story and hear about it. If you could start us out from the beginning, man, tell us about your childhood.
Yeah, lead us up to like what led you to where, you're healing and where you're at now.
Yeah.
Well, it's I had a pretty normal childhood, except for like my dad passed when I was young, and mom raised me, and I had a loving surroundings and everything. And I don't know, when I was younger, in my early teens, I started dabbling. I started drinking at a very young age. I was like, before my early teens, I was actually drinking. I came from the kind of family where it was okay to have a glass of wine at dinner, even being a child and stuff like that, which I wouldn't suggest for anybody. But But, it's like in my early teens, I started dabbling in the drugs. And then, by the time I was probably 15, 16 years old, I was, doing cocaine and all kinds of different drugs. And, by the time I was about 18, I was hooked on opiates. I started doing Oxycontins, and then Oxycontins got too expensive, moved on to heroin. And then, before I knew it, I was full blown doing IV drug use, smoking crack cocaine, eating benzos, Xanax, Valium. Like you couldn't imagine, it was just an everyday thing for me. And I was just so incredibly lost. I was always a good person, but and I was good to others. I just wasn't good to myself. I didn't have the self-love.
That resonates for this
That
guy.
Was me 100%, man. I was heavy into alcohol, though. Definitely cocaine. Alcohol and cocaine were my vices, but dude, that's crazy because I was always a good person, but I just treated myself like crap. Yeah, man. So
true,
that's and you started so young. That's amazing. It's just amazing. Man, I'm so genuinely, soulfully excited for the testimony and the purpose that you're going to have in this world because to be that young and that affect your brain developmentally that much and to be where you are now, that is like a freaking divine miracle. And not only that, a testament to just you. Like, that's so cool.
Well, you know, it's like I've said before, and I know you guys have caught it before. It's like I give the credit for to where I'm at now to plant medicine, psychedelics, DMT, psilocybin, mushrooms. You know, it was like I kept getting in trouble my whole life. I would sober up when I was on probation. You know, I never did any really long extended stays in jail, but, you know, I'd get out and I'd keep it together for a little bit, and then everything would fall apart. And I wanted to stay clean and sober so badly. And I just couldn't figure it out. I couldn't put it together. And, you know, it was through the use of these beautiful plant medicines and a high dose of ketamine, actually, that, and at first it started off my like, you know, I was doing all of these substances, all of the, not the plant medicines, everything, all of the, you know, the crack and the heroin and all this stuff. And it was actually the beginning of my awakening journey. It was actually like the big flash of light for me was a high dose of ketamine years ago.
Wow.
And what happened is I had an out of body experience, and I went out into the universe, and I got some messages from some truly divine beings. And, you know, after I came back from that experience, it was just kind of like, it alleviated the fear aspect out of my life, because I knew that there was much more after this. And it's like I've said before, I didn't get myself completely put together right then, you know, but it definitely was an awakening moment in my journey. And then through the research of, you know, ketamine and high doses and interaction with beings in the universe, I actually stumbled across DMT. And I researched DMT for about 6 months. I drove myself crazy with it. I was trying to figure out everything I could, because I had such a profound experience. You know, it's like, you know, I didn't believe in any of this stuff before. I didn't know what I believed in. All I knew was that I was incredibly, incredibly lost. And, you know, then about 6 months after I was researching it, it came into my life. And let me tell you, it was, you know, DMT it was just like the high dose of ketamine, where I say it's interdimensional traveling or whatever you want to call it, but I was in contact with beings, and they actually told me that, you know, I was messing my life up, and that I wasn't living in a proper manner, and that I needed to get myself put together. And, you know, it was actually like, you know, it kind of like broke me at first, because I was just like, I thought I was being a good person, but I didn't know what, you know, I knew I was doing something wrong, but I didn't think I was living that wrong. Like, because I had cleaned up myself, you know, to a decent point after the high dose of ketamine. But, you know, I got the message that it was my purpose to spread the word about, you know, about these substances. And I'm not even going to say that it was like through the DMT immediately either that I changed my ways. I mean, I got a big message, but, you know, it's for you to snap.
Right? It planted that seed.
Well, you know, it was a beautiful experience. And then, you know, and then it gave me more hope. It gave me
comfort. Yeah.
Yes, because, you know, it's like I was always, like I've said, the kind of person where, like, I needed to see something to believe it, you know,
Right.
and I didn't know what I believed in before. And it was you know, it gave me hope, and it showed me that there was so much more out there than I knew about. And, you know, it made me want to start getting my life put together. And, you know, I had relapsed a few more times after that, and then I had a heroic dose of psilocybin put into my life. And
Me too. That was an experience, man. Tell me about that.
It really was, you know. And I did six grams of psilocybin.
Yep.
And I locked myself in my bedroom, and I turned off all of the lights, because this is what I tell people. I say, you know, I had dabbled in psychedelics when I was younger, and I didn't use them properly. You know, I was out partying with them, and I was looking for the escape rather than going with it. You know,
setting the intention.
And it's crazy, you know, on that note, that's such a wonderful freaking point, because you know, LSD was actually huge for my healing from an alcohol perspective. But what I realized too, just what you're saying with my ayahuasca experience, these medicines are so sacred.
Oh yeah.
They're
they
so
really
sacred.
are.
Dude,
And
they're so sacred.
They're to be respected, you know. And it's like,
oh yeah.
I went on that 6 gram night. I locked myself in my room. It was pitch black. I even got under the comforter just so there was nothing that I could see. and I closed my eyes. And I also tell people too, it's like these medicines are a tool for meditation. And that's what I did. I went into a meditation, and I went out into the universe, and I became one with everything. And I realized that we were actually all a part of the divine. And that was one of the most beautiful experiences and one of the most crushing experiences for me at the same time, because I realized that every time that I was doing these bad substances, you know, all of the hard drugs that I was doing, I was literally poisoning the divine. And, you know, and like,
I never thought of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's true.
And it totally is, you know, and it's like,
That's
and it
mind blowing.
Just like whenever, like
that concept I've heard a lot of different concepts, but that is beautiful.
But it makes sense. Like in my ayahuasca ceremony, I was the show star. My ceremony was way more intense than anyone else there, but because I got such profound healing, it helped everyone else in that ceremony like feel it, and we all were able to heal together. Everyone else got healing because we are all connected. So whenever we heal, the collective heals, you know?
Think about adding that as people like yourself and us who like, we have this defined purpose of helping people heal and the collective heal and divine heal, genuinely helping the divine heal. That is incredible.
Yeah.
And you know, like honestly, like that was the moment when I realized that like I had to start treating the divine, which we all are, with respect, you know, and this is the vessel of the divine. You know, it's like actually one of my mentors, a guy that I work with, a Dr. Andrew Ferber, he's an amazing soul, and he's actually the psychiatrist at the facility we had just opened up. And he told me, he's like, you know, Charles is the observer. This is the vessel, and I am love. And that's what it truly comes down to. So like we all are a part of the divine. We all are all connected. And, you know, and it's like, I have actually like in my journey now, I've pointed a lot of people that were struggling the way that I was struggling on these substances towards these beautiful medicines. And that's what these are beautiful medicines. And they have actually went on started their healing journey. And a lot of people are getting off of opioids, and they're getting off alcohol. Like alcohol is, or they're stopped using alcohol and abusing it and doing all of these things because they're having the same kind of experiences that I had, you know? And that's why, you know, like that at the facility we just opened, that's what we're trying to let people know is, you know, we're doing the ketamine treatments. We're going to be pushing towards high doses. I mean, there's a different dose for everybody, but, you know, like mine was a high dose, and I had a truly profound experience on it. And there's a lot of people all around the world that are having these profound experiences on these medicines, and it's changing their lives completely. Which I think is such a beautiful thing, you know?
Oh, it is beautiful. And ketamine keeps consistently coming up on all of our recent podcasts.
Yeah, man, because that's actually something we have like really no knowledge of. That was totally new to us, man. We were huge advocates of psychedelics because LSD was so transformative in my life.
Yes.
And then we started learning about plant medicine. It was transformative for her. Didn't hear a thing about ketamine. And then we got connected with Michael Zappelin, who was the filmmaker for The Reality of Truth. He wrote a book with Deepak Chopra.
It's about ayahuasca.
The Reality of Truth is all about ayahuasca. So he's this award-winning filmmaker. We connected with him on his podcast interview.
He recommended that I do ketamine.
This guy that's done all the plant medicine, he's met all these people in the plant medicine movement, a figurehead in the plant medicine movement, has dedicated his life now to ketamine and says ketamine is going to help suicide by 75%.
Honestly, the thing that people don't realize about ketamine is at a high dose, ketamine is a psychedelic. So you actually, and I'm starting to get goosebumps talking.
That's awesome.
Love it.
And listen, if I do get a little emotional, I apologize. But you know, it's like that. It's the reason that we're doing this at the facility with the ketamine isn't just because of how it helped me so much. I mean, that's why I really wanted to get into this. But like, there are people there are veterans killing themselves out there, and we're going to be working with a lot of veterans, and we're going to be working with a lot of people that have PTSD, depression, anxiety, and all of this. But like, there are people like dying out there, and these medicines, these beautiful medicines are actually, and the ketamine, what it's doing is, when you have a traumatic experience, your neural pathways get all damaged and jammed up, right?
Right.
And what the ketamine's actually doing is it's actually helping rebuild the neural pathways. It's healing the neural pathways, okay? And it's actually letting neurons like travel through it. See, the neurons would bounce through the damaged pathways. And that was one of the things that's giving people all, like, you know, when that's what happens when trauma happens, but it's rebuilding the neural pathways so everything can flow through it smoothly. And there's actually new like studies that are actually saying that it's rebuilding dendrites off of the actual neural pathways as well, which is like, it's healing the neural pathways, and it's actually giving people a new lease on life. You know, it's taking somebody that might have had PTSD for the last 20 years that couldn't leave their house. They're eating unhealthy. And see, we're doing this at the center as well. And I hate to bounce around, but like, we're going to,
this
is awesome.
Yeah.
See, most of these ketamine treatment facilities, and I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them, what they do is they'll give people the therapy, and they give them an actual treatments. They give them a couple therapy sessions, and then they say, okay, now go integrate back into the world. See, we're going to be holding people's hands back to mental wellness.
That's
because
beautiful.
if you've had PTSD for the last 20 years, you're leaving your house at 2:00 in the morning, shopping at Walmart, you're probably eating all processed foods, you know, and it's like, this is a mind, body, and spirit healing journey. So we need to, you know, so like, that's what we're doing. It's like, you know, we're going to teach people how to eat healthy. We're going to have support groups for people out of our facility. We're going to be working with all first responders, anybody that's had a traumatic experience, you know, and we are moving towards clinical studies with the plant medicines, with the psilocybin and the DMT and all of that, because it helped me so much in my journey, you know. And it's like, that's why I am truly passionate about what I'm doing. And, you know, I tell people, this isn't a job for me. This is my mission. Okay. This is, and see, the reason that I went through everything that I went through in my life, I don't look at it as anything that I feel like that it was like it all served a purpose, is what I'm saying. It all served a purpose, and I had to go through what I went through to get to where I'm at. And see, now I get to take all of that experience, and I get to help people heal themselves the way that I healed myself. And like, what a beautiful thing that is. How you know,
it's so aligned with everything you're saying.
We could not
Ah!
physically be more aligned with what you want to do. That is
like,
insane.
I have chills now.
Like, and also we've got to connect you with Michael Zappelin. He is this guy. He hit it big whenever he bought like beer.com for 80,000 and sold it for like 10 million. So after that, he got big in the venture, but he was unhappy and depressed. So that's when he learned plant medicine, and he's figureheading. And now his big thing is ketamine. So he's trying to connect and help this movement however he can. And he's a pretty big power. And I got to connect you guys. We have to connect you guys.
We have a lot of plant medicine connections from doing podcasts. Like, if you want to go deep in the jungle and iboga or ayahuasca, whatever.
That is awesome, man. That is so, you're doing it all the right way too. And it's so spirit led. This is awesome.
Are you in Florida?
Yeah, I'm in Naples, Florida. And, you know, listen, see, like, I took a leap of faith, okay? I was in the electronics industry. I had a couple of jobs. I was working for some big companies. And I actually quit both of my jobs and took the leap of faith to open a facility with my business partner, Lisa, because I would have been very successful monetarily in the other industry that I was in.
This will fulfill you.
But it wasn't my purpose.
Right.
It was if I abused myself and was near death for 20-something years straight, and I didn't use my experience and what helped me to help other people, that would have been an incredible waste of a life of 22 years.
That's what I feel like too. I get it. And the beautiful thing about like someone like you and myself that have been through a lot of stuff and have like learned what actually works, because I've tried everything, you know what I mean? I haven't tried ketamine yet. I'm going to.
We've got to have you try ketamine.
Yeah. But I mean,
she got like 70% healing.
Yeah. But the beautiful thing about it is that we're truly going to be able to like connect and help people, because hey, we've been where you are. We've been at rock bottom, and like, look at where we are. You know what I mean? So it's going to inspire, and people are more apt to actually listen to and go to people like us, because it's not like I've had so many therapists throughout life tell me what to do. And it's like, you don't even have any clue, you know?
I tried to go Western medicine way to stop with my alcohol addiction and stuff. And it was people that have never even had anything close to an addiction telling me that I need these pills that would, I'd take them and then I'll throw up like if it's just the risk.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It's like, that's one of the things that we're doing out of the facility as well. And I talked to my business partner about this, and I was really passionate about this aspect. Is I was like, anybody that's really going to be working with us, I want them to either have firsthand experience or with abuse, or substance abuse, or PTSD. We have a couple of ex-law enforcement guys. We've got some military guys. It's like, I didn't want anybody that I'm not knocking anybody, but like, when anybody learned something out of a textbook and then they tried to tell me what was going to work for me, I'm like, you haven't been dope sick on the ground crying that you're wishing you were dead, and it's like, and you haven't been through this and lived it. And it's like, I would almost, and I know it was my ego and me shutting down, but I would almost turn them off before I even got any sort of message. Cause I'm just like, you don't know what I've went through, and see, that's why that's why I love connecting with you two and everything. It's because like, this is going to be the revolution of plant medicine healing. Okay. And that's
absolutely,
this is 2020, and what's going on after this, we're bringing it back. And I'm not saying that we're starting the revolution, because this was all happening before everything was made illegal, and all of these beautiful medicines. And I want to reiterate, they are medicines.
Yes. And you don't want to do ayahuasca for fun anyway. It ain't fun.
It's like, listen, these medicines, like I haven't done ayahuasca, but my psilocybin experience, I hear, was probably it's very similar to an ayahuasca experience. And let me tell you, the outcome was amazing from it.
Yes.
But you better believe that I put in a lot of work that night, and it took a lot out of me, because for everything that I had done, and then all of it comes crashing down, and you realize you're poisoning the source of everything. If you're poisoning yourself, that was pretty hardcore, I got to tell you, So this is my purpose now. This is what and I tell everybody, I am going to be screaming this from the rooftops. This is what saved my life. I couldn't hold a good job. Like, before all this, I couldn't hold a decent job. I was in and out of relationships like this and this and this. It's like, because of these medicines, I have a beautiful wife to be. I have a beautiful baby, and I have a lot of beautiful people that I'm surrounded with in my life, and we're all on the same mission. And our mission is to help people and spread the word about.
And you own your own business.
Yes, and
that's amazing.
Who would have thought that? How beautiful is that? I couldn't hold, I wasn't capable of doing anything. I was too dope sick or too hungover all the time to make it out of bed until 5 o'clock in the afternoon sometimes, I was an embarrassment to my family. I was an embarrassment to myself. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I would literally walk into the bathroom and I would look in the mirror and I'd burst into tears. And I was so upset, because I was upset with myself, because I've always, been an intelligent person and thought that I could smart my way out of this. And I always knew I was a strong-willed person, but I couldn't will my way out of it. And these medicines actually gave me the vision and gave me the message on, it made me want to stop doing them. It was like, like I said, it wasn't like, it was over a period of time that my healing really started. But like, after that psilocybin experience, it was like, wow, like now I need to get myself together, and I need to tell everybody about this,
Yeah. That is amazing.
That is awesome, man.
Yes.
Wow. So what was the process? Like, take us through the story of from the time you had this profound healing to starting your business and where you're at now. Take us through that process.
Well, it's like, I got to the point, and let me say this too, also including with the plant medicines, it was a lot of spiritual work and meditation. Meditation is a huge, intricate part of my healing process. And, listen, this is a journey that we're on. So I'm not going to say it's a continuous healing journey. And I feel like, even though I felt like I was in a good place 6 months ago, I'm in an even better place now, you know, and I continue my meditations and my healing journey. And this is, you know, and I'm just going to keep on going with it and going with it because, you know, I want to be the best version of myself, my higher self. And that's what the goal is that, you know, to kill the ego off, which these medicines really, you know, and they just show you, hey, you know, you don't really know anything, but we're going to show you. And then if you start to think that you know everything, then the universe is going to show you that you don't know anything. You know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of like this ongoing healing process. And you know, that's like, so what I did was, you know, I got to the place where I wanted to completely get off of everything, which I did. And then I was working in the electronics industry again. I was working for a couple magazines, and I was traveling, and I was, you know, around all these people that were, you know, good people. But it's just like, because I had seen what I saw through my journey on these medicines, I was having an incredibly hard time just sitting around the chatter. You know, it was just like, it wasn't anything spiritual about it. And I was watching people that weren't, you know, it's like I had grown past that part where like I needed to live my purpose, you know, and it wasn't about the money. And now the thing is, it's like, it's not about the money, you know, it's like our purpose at our facility is to heal people, you know, and no, to show people how to heal themselves the way that we've healed ourselves, you know, and with the ketamine, you know, which we're going to be doing very like right, you know, in the next couple of weeks or whatever, probably, as long as everything, you know, passes by with what's going on and stuff.
Right.
But you know, it's like, we're going to be, and that's another thing. It's like with everything that is going on, you know, there's going to be a lot more people that need healing, and we're going to take it back to the plants. We're taking it back to the plants. We're getting people off of pharmaceuticals. We want people to live an all natural, holistic lifestyle. I actually went plant-based like 4 months ago on my journey. You know, and I think that's a beautiful thing because see, what we need to do is raise our vibration. Okay.
100%.
Yes.
So, and I'm not screaming from the rooftops that everybody needs to go on a plant-based diet, but I do know in my personal journey that it's helped me raise my vibration.
Same here. High fruit and vegetables.
For me, I've switched to I've even taken it to the extreme because I've had health stuff, so I do raw. And, you know, I'm learning how to make things that actually taste better, you know, but man, I got to tell you, I am so tapped in, tuned in, clear-headed, and zero inflammation in my body. And I feel amazing when I eat this way. I don't know if you're familiar with the medical medium, but there's a guy called Anthony Williams. He's the medical medium. He's huge. I mean, he's helped so many people, but he has amazing recipes, but he's not a doctor, but it's all just downloads from spirit, and everything that he said has 100% helped me. It's amazing.
It's an awesome thing to check out. It's medical.
Yeah, you should check him out.
He has some great recipes. Great recipe.
But so I was doing I was selling ad space in the electronics industry for a couple different publications, and my business partner Lisa actually has Revive. She had Revive Medical Cannabis magazine, and it's a Southwest Florida based magazine, and we'd been friends, and you know, and I had shared my journey about my DMT experiences with her years ago, and how they had helped me, how it had helped me so much. And because of this, she actually started the Southwest Florida Psychedelic Society, right? So what I did was I had said to her, listen, you know, I'm selling ad space and I'm doing great. I was like, but I would love to help you sell some ad space for Revive, you know, just on the side or whatever, and see if I can bring in some more business. And I started doing that with the magazine for her. And she was talking about getting a new facility because she was out of a place, you know, where she was doing stuff, and she wanted to look for a new spot. And she got this beautiful space. And I looked at her and I was just like, listen, I go, if I can bring in a medical director and I can bring in some, you know, people, would you like to go in on a business together where we'd be 50-50 partners, and let's turn this place into a real healing center? And she was like, let's do it.
Wow.
So that's when I actually, you know, I took the leap of faith, and I called my two bosses and I said, listen, I said, you know, I love both. It was different companies, and it was okay. They were cool that I was working for different companies. They knew each other, and I was just like, listen, I said, I hate to do this to you, but I have to tell you that I was getting ready. There was a trade show in California that I was getting ready to go.
We used to do trade shows.
Yeah.
And I called up and I was just like, listen, I said, I'm not going to be able to make it to the trade show. And I'm really sorry, but it's because I am going to be doing this at a center that we're opening. And both of them told me, they're like, we completely, like both, I understand completely. This is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to help people. This is all you talk about anyways. You know? And see, and that's what it is too. You know, it's like how, with these plant medicines and all of this healing, it's like, if you notice, it's like we're doing right now. Anybody that has these experiences, we're talking about it. And it's all it's all I literally talk about. I tell people I live, eat, breathe this stuff. It's like, this is my purpose. This is my life, and it's like, that's why it's such an amazing place, as well as because, it's like we have about 17 different practitioners that are going to be doing sound healing, qigong, meditation classes, yoga classes, and everybody that's working out of this facility, it is their purpose to do what they are doing, just like it is my purpose to do what I'm doing. And, I tell people, because I'm very much into manifestation abilities, right?
Yes.
I tell people this all the time. I'm like, imagine if the normal average human being has about 10,000 thoughts going through their head a day. I go, you got a person like me? I got like 30 or 40,000 thoughts. I said, but imagine if you could take all of those thoughts and hone them into just 5 thoughts, what your manifestation abilities would be like. I go, and then you take somebody who's so driven like me, where literally all I think about is this, what I'm talking about. And then you put 16, 17 people in a building, and it's the same mindset with all of those people. Beautiful. And, I do have a beautiful family. And guess what, though? They're a part of it, too. My fiance, Christina, is going to be working and doing aesthetic procedures out of the facility, too, all non-invasive, everything like that, holistic healing. We're even going to be doing scar blending for people that might have had scars from a traumatic experience or whatever. But so it's like, I not only get to do this out of this facility, but when I say I got the laser focus and the one thought on my mind, it's because my family's a part of it as well. How beautiful is that? So it's like
amazing.
That is so awesome.
I wish we lived closer, because I want to come to your facility.
I know.
I have a feeling in the future that we're all going to be getting together.
I have a very strong feeling about that too, man. There are no coincidences.
No, none. Are you kidding me?
No. I am 100% a believer in divine synchronicity. I believe that us talking here right now it's divinely happening, and everything
well,
that's
it's just
going on.
So in alignment. Like everything that you're doing, saying, I'm just like, whoa, it's so in alignment with like how we think, feel.
Yes.
And I can't wait to try ketamine, because like he said, it's a healing journey. I got a shit ton of healing, a ton of it. But like, there's still more. I had you mentioned PTSD for 20 years. That was me, like bad, because I had horrible traumatic events. And, I do feel like ketamine's like the thing I haven't tried that I should.
Yeah. Well, it's like I was saying, and, you said you had the PTSD for so long. It's like, how many people in society don't have it and don't even realize they've had it just because
because they've always had it.
Exactly. And, and like with what you were saying is, I'm probably 70% healed from the ayahuasca and stuff like that. Is like the ketamine is actually science. See, the plant medicines do an amazing job with the spiritual healing aspect of everything. They show you the light. They show you the way. But see, the ketamine, and I know that, the psilocybin and everything, it is doing things to the brain and stuff, but there's scientific evidence that it is healing up the neural pathways that have been damaged.
There's nothing that has ever done that.
No, so like, this is going to be the game changer for so many people. It is going to change so many people's lives for the better. And, and it was such a taboo subject for so many years, because like, everybody was talking about doing it at clubs and stuff like that. But just like we said before, time, setting, intention, it's like, nobody's going, to be going to our facility to go to a rave and do ketamine. It's like, we're going to be hooking people, and we're doing IV ketamine treatment. So we're going to be hooking people up to IV, set them in a chair. I have 2 guys that I'm going to be working with. Well, one officially right now, and I'm working on the second one, and I have a really good feeling that he's going to be coming into it very soon. But they're very, very good at hypnotism. Okay.
I love that.
Hypnosis. And so what I'm talking to them about is, let's take this a little bit further. Why don't we get somebody in for a treatment for that hour? Because it's like 40 minutes to an hour long treatment. And then I said, let's get some beautiful, like, you know, healing music in the background and take them through a guided, like, hypnotism, put them in a you know, and actually, like, you know, do more healing on top of the ketamine at the same time. Like, let's get crazy with it and see how far we can take this healing all together, all at once. And we're going to be, I've been talking to my medical director, David Wilkinson, about doing, you know, like studies on the brain, actually. Like, you know, I want to like, you know, hook people up and see what's actually happening and what's working more effectively. And, you know, that's like the ketamine and the plant medicines and the, you know, that, and the healthy diet and all, that's very key. But see, after you get done using these substances, what you need to do is, that's when the real healing starts happening. Because see, you heal yourself and you get yourself mentally into a good place. You have this burning bush experience like I had myself, and then you teach them about yoga and exercising and eating healthy. You know, it's like, I could sit here and I could take, you know, plant medicines all day, but if I don't use what I've learned and then start to apply healthy eating habits to my life and exercising and treating this vessel like the true divine vessel that it is, the healing journey never ends. But it's got to be, like I said, mind, body, and spirit. You know?
Yes, it's all three. It's all
and
three.
What better guide to have than you? My gosh, because like that's huge too. Having the right person guide you on your ketamine, you know, treatment.
You know, and like, I don't know if I mentioned it, but like, I also, you know, I weighed 273 pounds at one time.
That's right.
I've had every addiction known to man. I like food, drugs, alcohol, sex, like, you know, like I used to like just be all over the place. I was always looking for something to take me outside myself and escape, you know.
Yeah.
And it was like, you know, I don't like, I'm incredibly healthy now. I work out all the time. You know, it's like, I've got myself to a very, you know, healthy place in my life where I'm physically healthy as well. And I tell people that too. It's like, you know, I was miserable when I weighed that much, and it was a very unhealthy weight that I was at. And, you know, it was just awful. And so like, if I did these plant medicines, or if I did the ketamine or whatever, stuff like that, and then I kept eating fast food every day or whatever, what we put in our mouth affects the way that we feel up here.
100%.
And our vibration, everything. Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, it's like, it's like I said before, never ending, but, you know, and just keep on evolving with it and raising our vibrations as high as we possibly can, you know, and it's a true beautiful thing. It's, you know, and you two are truly beautiful people.
You look great too. You look great. I would have never known. I mean, you look like you've been in shape your whole life.
I appreciate it, but, you know, it wasn't the case, and it's because of these medicines that I am in the place that I'm at now. You know, I exercise all the time. I eat incredibly healthy. I eat organic, non-GMO as much as humanly possible, because I tell people this too. If you're going to switch to a plant-based diet, the worst thing that you could possibly do is start pumping yourself full of pesticides nonstop, because that's going to lower your vibration. I noticed, like, you know, I was running around so crazy for like a couple months ago, getting everything put together for the business, and I kept having to like not eat as I had to keep bouncing around and eating, and I was eating more. I was eating plant-based still, but I was eating a lot of foods that weren't non-GMO and stuff like that. Let me tell you something. After about a week and a half of doing it, I felt incredibly depressed, and I was just like, what's going on? Like, I'm Mr. Positivity. Like what's going on with me? And then Christina, my fiance, she looks at me and she's like, you're the one that always tells everybody to eat non-GMO, organic. Look at what you've been eating. And she's like, what do you think's happening? Of course, I switched my diet back. I made time, and, you know, and that's the thing too. We have to take time. We have to, you got to be selfish sometimes and take a little bit of time for yourself and make sure that you give yourself the time to get these foods properly and everything. Because listen, you know, how can I, and especially working at a healing center, how can I pour anything else in anybody's cup if my cup isn't full?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like we have to take care of ourselves and make sure we're healthy so we can be the way to show other people how to live. And you know, that's a huge part of my journey as well. So
Yeah, and I can honestly tell the difference within the first week of like eating a raw plant-based diet. Like if I've like done like I'm not doing that anymore, but when I used to like, oh, I'll cheat on the weekends or whatever. Like that was a slippery slope that never served me well.
And the thing is,
because they put things into them that they inject things into them that makes me want to crave more of it. Like it's vicious cycle, you know?
and there's no substitute for truly feeling the best you can feel and being in tune, being in alignment, and being able to be as impactful as you can in your day. Because that's what it comes down to in your purpose. It's having an impact. And if you want to have the best impact, you got to be at the top of your game to the most you can.
Oh, you mentioned today on Facebook about unpasteurized coconut water. Oh,
yeah.
Love it.
Honestly,
I missed that. Tell me about that. I missed that.
We drink it. You just don't
well,
know.
I'll tell you guys, like, you know, I just said it's an amazing thing and it does very special things to me. And it actually really does. You know, it's like I notice that my vibration goes through the roof when I drink non-pasteurized coconut water. And it's an amazing post-workout drink for me too, as well. You know, it's like, you know, I do work out like consistently, and, you know, you do a lot of sweating and stuff like that. And then people are drinking these energy drinks, or they're drinking, you know, drinks full of sugar and everything and stuff like that, trying to replace all their electrolytes. And coconut water is my post-workout. It's full of all natural electrolytes. You know, it's like I don't drink any sodas, diet sodas, any of that crap. I don't put any of that crap in my body. I drink coconut water when I want something like that. Just spring water.
Yeah.
I drink spring water, coconut water. Then at night before I go to bed, I take a nice little handful of pink Himalayan sea salt. I take that down with water, get myself nice and hydrated for the next day when I do work out. And then I put. And
you're alkaline. It sounds like your body is just completely alkaline.
100%. You know,
disease can't exist.
I love your story. I have really enjoyed talking with you today. Like, this has been good, and it's so cool because, you know, we've had several people on here that have healed, you know, from plant medicine, but I always want to touch on like how diet is so important. And I feel like you're like the first person that we've been able to talk about that. And I'm like, oh.
It's honestly like, you know, like I said, the plant medicines will get you so far and they'll show you the way, but it's what I use this all the time. It's like Alan Watts said. It's like, you know, psychedelics are like a telephone receiver. You pick up the message. You pick up the phone, you put it to your ear, you listen to the message, you put the receiver back down, and you apply what you've learned to your life. And what I learned is that we are the divine. So why not treat myself as the divine that I am, you know, or the part of the divine that I am. And like, you can't just take plant medicines and think it's going to fix everything in your life. It'll show you the way, but then it's time for you to start treating yourself properly.
Right. Yeah. And when you do these things and you put good into your mind, good into your body, good into your spirit, I mean, then you just notice that like you're at the right place at the right time. Like everything, you start becoming in that powerful manifesting phase where you're attracting all the things that you do want, you know, like it's just so cool.
Yeah. 100%. You know, I got to tell you, it's like, you know, when I actually got my body to like the place where I'm at now, like you just said, everything started falling into place. That's when I started using the phrase divine synchronicity, like it was going out of style, because everything that was happening in my life was just falling right into place. It's literally like I would have a thought of something that I wanted to accomplish, or a person that I would want to run into because I would need to talk to them about something very important, and I'd bump into that person the next day. I got to tell you the craziest story. Our medical director, David, I was at my fiance's house, Christina's house, at her mother's house for Thanksgiving a while back. And I told her, I go, you know, I was like, I'm trying to figure out who our medical director could be. And wouldn't it be great if I could bump into David Wilkinson and ask him to be our medical director? I hadn't seen him in months. And I got to tell you, this is the honest to God truth. The next day I was walking into the gym and he walks up right next to me and he's like, hey, how's it going, man? And I'm like,
oh my God, that's awesome.
And I looked at him and I was just, you know, we hadn't even touched base on the ketamine thing yet. I was just like, hey, we might need a medical director for some aesthetic procedures at our facility, and I have this machine I want to ask you about. And he's like, well, I don't know about that machine, but and I was just like, okay, whatever. And I looked at him, I was like, you want to work out today? 30 minutes into the workout, he was like, why don't you just ask me to be your medical director? And
That is awesome.
but it doesn't stop there. It's just like, so then it was just for aesthetic procedures and stuff. And I hadn't actually told him about my journey and my healing journey, because I didn't know where it was going to go, or like how he'd be receptive to it or whatever. So he comes about 2 weeks later to do a walkthrough through the facility. And we've been talking about ketamine treatments and all of this the entire, like, not David and I, but Christina and Lisa, my business partner. And like, we wanted to get into it so much. And all of a sudden at the end of the tour of the facility, he looks at my business partner, Lisa, and I, he goes, you guys ever heard of ketamine treatments before? And we were just like, no way. And like, that's
like, this is happening.
and it was like, that's when divine synchronicity really started kicking into my life, and David and I joke around about it now today, but it's just like, there are no coincidences.
No.
There aren't, when you're on the divine, and that's what I've learned about my journey as well. It's that I was off the beaten path for a long time, and the thing is that everything was crumbling. And like, once I got aligned with what I was supposed to be doing, and I know that everything I went through served a purpose.
Yeah.
Once I got aligned and made those changes and took a leap of faith and did all of these things, everything just started lining up for me. And and to see now, I know that there is a purpose for all, like, a divine purpose and a divine connection between what is happening right here. That I'm working at a facility with. It's like we were all brought together in divine synchronicity to do this. This is a mission now. It's like, this is my mission. I tell people that it's like, I'm like, and like, this is not only my purpose, but my mission in life. I feel like I'm like in my own little military, and, and it's like, I'm going to war every day, the war to spread consciousness, and it's like
awesome.
Yeah. So, and that's what my goal is. That is my true goal. And I feel like it is my purpose is to wake people up.
Yeah.
Everybody is, like you said at the beginning, there are so many people that are still asleep.
Yeah.
They're living in fear, and they're eating all of these horrible foods, and like, it's because
they go to a doctor thinking a doctor's going to heal them, and I'm like, I hate to break it to you.
It's like, it's so crazy, because at the beginning of my when I started going plant-based and everything, and like when I started eating incredibly healthy, I even had like my family members that are just like looking at me like I'm crazy. And it's like, that's like the programming of society, where it's just like, wait a second. So like, you're looking at me like I'm nuts because I want to eat healthy.
Right.
Because I want to take care of my body, and I want to do good things for my body. And it's just like, it's like people think that, oh, you're not going to be fun because you eat healthy or something, and it's just like, no, it's like, I'll be more fun because I'm full of energy and I'm
right.
It's so true.
Right.
Well,
I don't have to drink to have a good time.
And there's
people think all the time, it's like, oh, if you saw me drink, it wouldn't be a good time. Trust me.
Right.
Same here.
I can't stand being around drunk
It was
people.
never one. It had to be 20 for me. So I'm there with you.
Yeah, I was never.
There's a huge shift, that awakening that's about to take place.
Massive. This is the Great Awakening.
But so many people are going to need guidance from people like yourself. I mean, like, this is the time that, like, it is our time. This is what we've been, like, working towards, whether we knew it or up until this point. Like, this is the time.
Yep.
Hey, I've been telling everybody, and I talk about it on the page as well. I'm just like, listen, it's like, this is actually everybody being forced into healthy living, because what's happening now is everybody's going to be more aware of taking care of themselves, keeping their immune systems high. They don't know, a lot of people don't know about raising their vibrations yet, but they're about to find out, and you know what I'm saying? And it's one of those things that, like, it's funny because, like, people that I surround myself that weren't into this at first, it's almost through osmosis. It's like they see how positive I am. They see how happy I am. Listen, I even have people that I used to go to AA and NA and stuff like that. And like, I go every once in a while just because I do think that, the universe does speak through those rooms as well sometimes. But like, I have people that have been sober for an extended period of time, years and years and years. And they're reaching out to me through Messenger, and they're just like, I want what you have, man. You know, it's like you know that you can't just take the alcohol and the drugs out of your system. That's just the first step.
Right.
Then then the true healing begins. You know, and like, you know, I got people that are like 10, 15 years sober, which I have no kind of sobriety like that. And they're like, hey, you know, it's like when you're doing I watch your page, you know, and I didn't even know they watched my page, and they're just like, and you know, and it's like, I see how positive you are, and I see how happy you are, and like, I want that. So when you really have everything going, like, can I come see you at the facility? And I'm like, of course you can. Like, that's what we're here for. And, you know, and see, and that's another thing I really want to touch on real closely or quickly is, you know, people think that because they're in sobriety, that doing a ketamine treatment or something, or some people do.
Oh, you're so right. Oh, it's going to trigger them.
DMT or psilocybin.
Such an issue.
This? Bill Wilson, the guy who invented AA, he was highly into psychedelics and meditation.
Yes. LSD.
I know, but most people don't know that.
No, and then, so they're like, oh, well, that's a relapse. And it's like, no, that's actually me getting right where I need to be. You know what I'm saying?
This one.
But yeah, everyone's going to have to, during this Great Awakening, everyone's going to have to they're going to realize very soon that they're going to have to deprogram themselves from everything that they've been taught to up to this point.
100%.
This is such a good interview, man. We gotta publish this early.
Amazing, huh?
Publish this one early.
I know.
We're like a month and a half out, but I think we're gonna have to switch
this
things up a little bit. It's usually a month and a half out, but we
publish
might
it,
have to make an exception because the world needs to see this. They need to hear that. So we're gonna be making an exception for this one.
So how do people find you?
Yeah.
Whenever everything does pick back up again?
Okay, so I am at on Facebook, only positive vibes and only positive posts and vibes are. I'm sorry.
We're gonna post your group with this podcast
We're gonna put all the
too.
links of anything you want on there.
Whatever you want, let us know.
Beautiful.
You've got like almost 7,000 people in that group. Wow.
Yeah, you know, I tell people it's like I only started the page with 17 of my friends, and it was just because I was tired of having such negative stuff on my feed all the time. And now there's like today we hit over 6,600 people around the world that are spreading positive energy and seeing. Listen, that's my little thing. Is like people don't realize it. It's like my little like stab back at things where it's like I'm secretively spreading positive ripples of positivity out into the universe. You know, it's like, it's my way of fighting back, you know, and it's like, and people, you know, people love it and people are a part of it. And, you know, there's beautiful people from all around the world that are a part of it now. And on this mission to spread the knowledge and wisdom about plant medicines and healing and meditation and, you know, all kinds of different aspects of life that most people they haven't been educated about, you know?
Yes. Yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, dude, this has been such an incredible interview. We are so excited and like grateful to be connected with you and see where everything goes, man.
The same back to you too as well.
The one question, my contact's messing up here. Good timing. The one question we always ask everybody right before we're done is, if you could leave the world with one message, what would it be?
We are one.
I love it. Love it.
Together we are one. And the more separation between us, the farther we are from our goal, you know, and it's to come together as one. And I'm really getting goosebumps now and saying this and everything. It's like, you know, it's like, that's what everybody needs to know. It's anything that separates us isn't good for us. We need to come together as a world population and put all of our differences aside and just realize that we are one.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. Thank you so much for being on here.
And I wish you so much success.
Yes.
And I just know you're going to help millions of people.
Oh, 100%. Any way we could ever bring value to you, just let us know. I am going
to come try ketamine at your facility.
That's right.
Of course. Hey, listen, I'd love to have you guys come down.
You have to ride on a freaking horse out there.
We'll get together for sure, and I'd love to do another one of these with you guys sometime.
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks so much, man. You have a blessed night. We'll be in touch.
Yes, happy healing. Yes.
Namaste.
Namaste.